Hello boys and girls, long time no speak, so let me start you off with a question. Have you ever gone to a New Year's party for a few small drinks with your mates?
You got a piece of gutter!
Just to wake up 3 months later in a different country halfway across the planet with a hangover the size of Lizzo just because the reminder you've set back in December about Assassin's Creed Shizzle coming out started incessantly beeping over and over again? No? Well, me neither. You wouldn't catch me setting a reminder for this approaching dumpster fire. That being said, I did make the minimal effort to make a low priority mental note that it should be releasing right about now. But, oh no, wouldn't you know it? It's delayed again. Paint me surprised. I guess February was just too tame of a date for a company hell-bent on disrespecting the Japanese. So they moved it to March the 20th instead. If you don't know, March the 20th, 2025 will be the 30th anniversary of the deadly sarin gas attack in Tokyo Metro system. I mean, Ubisoft just keeps winning and winning with this game, aren't they? So, Eves, if there's another delay looming on the horizon, why not move the release date to August 6th? Or 9th? Perfect dates for the summer season, wouldn't you agree? Whichever date you choose there, mate, for your grand release, completely ignoring the fact that it's already been leaked. I'll be waiting here, eagerly, to play your magnum opus. You can bet on that. Well, since it's not officially out yet, and I've already made an effort to sober up a bit and exit my winter den of despair, I might as well take a look at what's being played at the moment.
Henry, our hero Henry.
It's been a while, but now we can finally show you Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Wow, would you look at that? It's a sequel to one of my favorite RPGs. And now we've added gay romance that nobody asked for.
The most adventure I was expecting was a fuck or two.
Kingdom Cock Delivered 2? Sign me right up. Finally, a perfect opportunity to do some dick jousting with good old Hans. And learn the ways of the sword from a completely different angle. I mean, it is called Kutna Hora for a reason, boys. Sadly, just before I was able to whip up my cock and deliver it straight to Hans' chocolate kingdom as the title suggests,
It's magnificent.
Indeed it is.
I noticed a peculiar stir in the interwebs regarding, well, this fucking thing. An Obsidian-made RPG is in a grinder, so to speak. Interesting. Okay then, let's have a look, shall we?
Uncle George.
Avowed was released on February 18th, 2025, to little fanfare just like a fart at the funeral. From the corpse.
Oh, that's nasty.
It aspires to be a deep RPG with meaningful choices, rich world and a highly customizable combat system. After spending many hours in the Living Lands, I can certainly say that the best Avowed could hope for is a participation trophy. Oh, and by the way, I have no prior knowledge of Pillars of Eternity. I know the game ties so much to the events of the prior games, and most of the people I spoke with said Avowed would be the absolute worst starting point for appreciating the complexity and the world and lore of Eora. So there's that to contend with. You are a godlike, which to my best knowledge is a person touched by the god while in the process of spawning. The effects differ from godlike to godlike, but you drew the short straw and came out looking like a fucking clicker from The Last of Us. To make matters worse, you don't know which patron god touched you, and it's only understandable he wouldn't want to make himself known after turning you into a fucking flower pot. Fortunately, the ability to grow mushrooms on your head and have a tree bark instead of a fucking face made you just enticing enough to the local emperor that he made you his envoy. Again, I don't know if this is some deep lore, but for me, wearing a tree over your face and looking like a compost heap was a bit much, so I turned those things off for the sake of extracting any enjoyment out of this game. Hate me if you have to. Being a prominent member of your family tree, you are uprooted and sent to the Living Lands, the last bastion of good old anarchy and free-for-all, which are being slowly eroded by the new version of freedom brought to you by your fellow countrymen from the failing empire.
America, fuck yeah! Coming again to save the motherfucking
You, however, couldn't have given the smallest of fucks because you're the Emperor's envoy with a specific task at hand. The lands are plagued with a strange disease called the Dream Scourge, and you've sent there to investigate and deal with it. The Dream Scourge, as per the wiki, affects people, animals, creatures and the land itself. Living victims first experience confusion, disorientation and hallucinations, which eventually manifest as unpredictable and erratic behavior as the plague worsens, as if the victim is trapped in a walking nightmare.
You can't kill me. No one can kill me. I'll swim across the sea.
I knew it. Whatever's on their faces, it gets into their heads.
In the final stages, they turn into a violent dream thralls, their bodies twisted with fungal growths and their minds and souls overtaken by the plague. So in other words, just a fentanyl epidemic. Should have said that from the start. Like any good RPG, it starts off with your ship taking one in the ass for the team and beaching you and the Disney character number 1 on the shores of an island not far from your destination. You soon discover your countrymen had a serious fentanyl problem for a while now, and for shits and giggles they decided to cannonball the fuck out of your ship. You lurk a bit, picking the place clean, and stumble upon a smuggler which you can free or ignore. Then, you finally make your way to the Living Lands proper. Upon arrival, you team up with the Deep to track and find the ambassador to your empire.
Get ready to be disappointed.
Not long after, you find him in a cave, chilling with the corpse of the Paradise mayor.
What happened?
Are you blind? We're being hunted. Get rid of the bear and we'll talk after.
You then proceed to fight a crystallized bear, get high from the crystals in question, hear a voice,
"We are here. Come to us. Commune with us."
promptly ignore it, and make your way back to the city. Upon entering, you get shot with an arrow and die.
Envoy!
And that would have been a compelling story. Unfortunately, you hear a voice again and come back to the land of the living.
Nice.
Now, angrier than ever, you begin your quest of finding your killer and getting the lands rid of the plague. From here, you are free to explore the lands, partake in side activities which are almost non-existent, do side quests and progress the plot. On the surface, the story has a nice hook, if not a bit cliché, and yes, you can absolutely make the argument everything is cliché nowadays, but the problem is, it doesn't really keep you hooked for long. And I don't think the blame lies solely on the story, but it's a rather combination of things that make the whole experience uninteresting. I will touch on it in greater detail later on, but for now I wanted to focus on the things that I liked, and trust me, it's not going to be a horribly long list. Plus, let's face it, me and you both know you didn't come here for me to sing praises now, did ya? I thought so. So let's get on with it. The combat's fine. Well, sort of. The idea of being able to create a class's hero is indeed very enticing, and creating a sword and shield wielding battle wizard flintlock sniper ninja lends itself to some interesting gameplay indeed. You also get a limited scope of interactions like electrocuting water with a lightning spell, and some basic primer and trigger shenanigans. However, at least on a personal level, the combat lacks a certain oomph to make it engaging. The spells look weak and the feedback from swinging your sword amounts to frame freezing, which feels more like a Killer Instinct combo breaker than an actual hit. Also, despite there being the set interactions between abilities, don't expect it to be on Bioshock or any Lions RPG level. And you know what? That's fine. Combat does not need to be complicated to be fun. On the contrary, sometimes a simple combat system is what makes the game great. But in case of Avowed, if the combat is simple and becomes repetitive pretty quickly, and the rest of the game is unengaging, well, you can see how it quickly loses any legs to stand on. More on that later. The graphics are nice, I suppose. I mean, if you squint or look at stuff from the distance. Get up close and there's really nothing to write home about. Despite the visual style and the colors, everything looks a little bit generic. I mean, for some reason it reminds me of Fortnite, I don't know why. Finally, on the good list, I would like to put the generously named parkour system, i.e. the ability to grab ledges. Which, don't get me wrong, is a fine distraction letting you climb stuff, reach some hard to get areas for loot, and face through cloth like it was nothing. Certainly, it made the rather dull journey through Paradise a little bit more bearable, and overall I found myself more interested in trying to climb shit I wasn't supposed to than engaging with the actual game. But then again, I never claimed I was actually normal. Now that's done and dusted, let's have a look at the bad, shall we? Now, when conceptualizing one's thoughts about Avowed, it becomes clear relatively quickly that one cannot really form any strong opinions on any given aspect of the game, and I think this is its biggest flaw. Playing it feels like chewing on a fucking wet rug. Let me elaborate. Firstly, whatever you say about Avowed, you can always add "sort of" at the end and it will fit every time. For example, the combat is pretty fun. Sort of, since there's not as much as depth to it as it seems, and with lack of solid feedback it gets tiresome after a while. The exploration is great. Sort of, I mean, Obsidian worlds always feel more like game levels than actual places, and this is especially prevalent in Avowed since you cannot interact with anything outside chests and enemies. NPCs and the local fauna are unkillable ghosts unless they're flagged hostile, and the whole exploration is just fucking about from pockets of generic enemies overground to a pocket of generic enemies underground. Paradise is
gay as fuck.
A generic mishmash of flavorless buildings occupied by unmoving silhouettes acting as quests and item dispensers. Nothing really ever happens here, and it is supposed to be the last bastion of total anarchy where the Empire struggles to bring the semblance of order. The reality...
This sergeant of the Paradise Militia refuses to discipline his people about lingering near our headquarters. A less charitable woman might suppose that their loitering is intended to aggravate us.
Gay as fuck.
Man, I've been to community centers in German countryside that are more rebellious than this. Oh well, at least the music isn't bad. Well, sort of, because it isn't anything special either. It is the standard, regular, everyday, well-established, corporate-mandated ambient music TM that both Obsidian and Bethesda games are known for. I guess same can be said for sounds when you have like 3 shouts for all the spells at your disposal, and it gets old fast.
And roll! And roll! You'll seek! You'll seek!
There is stealth in the game, facilitating more varied approaches to combat. Well, sort of. See, stealth is extremely basic, and when it comes to stealth kills, you whip out your Halo Type 1 energy sword and hack away. Problem is, it's not a guaranteed kill, and even if you do manage to kill something, you usually get swarmed by the entire group anyway, so I miss the point of this entirely, to be honest. Your companions are pretty cool though. Well, sort of, since their stories and questlines are boring and they're more or less useless in combat. Also, the only time you can really interact with them is in the camp, and boy oh boy, let me tell you about the fucking camp. Anything you want to do apart from killing mobs or getting and handing in quests has to be done in the camp. You want to talk to your party members after some major event? Can't do it then and there. Instead, you get a little bubble nagging you and it will stay there until you get to camp, and then you can have your little chat. Wanna upgrade something? That's right, fuck the fact that you're in a city full of blacksmiths and enchanters. You have to fuck off outside the walls and set up a camp in pre-designated spot for that. Cooking? There's a fireplace in every inn. Nope, back to the fucking camp you go. And pray to all the gods in the universe that you have enough resources for everything you want to do or craft. Otherwise, you'll have to cancel the camp, collect whatever you're missing, and you betcha, go back to the same exact spot and set the fucking camp again. And to top it all off, all this cooking, enchanting and upgrading is just done in menus. No animation, no visualization, just a click in the menu and there you go. If that's the case though, shouldn't they have made the camp a click in the menu as well? At least it would have been consistent. But as it is now, it's just another small thing in a long list of things that makes this game seem bland. So, in conclusion, it's a bland world with safe characters, a sanitized story, and stripped down mechanics and non-existing immersion. A world that really does not give a fuck if you explore it or not. So why was there such a massive stir on the interwebs regarding this game? Well, as always, it's because of politics on social media. I've bravely put on the hazmat suit and dived deep into the septic tank, which is Twitter, so you don't have to get to the bottom of the shit puddle, if you will. And after spending roughly around 10 minutes investigating, I came back out even dumber than before and with a stage-free brain cancer as a reward for my efforts. Do yourself a favor, mate. Don't go on Twitter and Reddit looking for a productive discussion. The gist of it is that a brave social justice warrior that is responsible for making this game does not like Elon Musk and decided to get all political about it, dragging his game into it in the process. Why? I guess because he has strong opinions and he needs to put them front and center before his mediocre game for some reason. See, this isn't anything new, and the same can be said about Daniel Vavra, the little weasel who folded up on his supposed ideals as soon as Embracer told him to do so.
I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted to. And you have to do it. You have to, or I'll fire you. Do you understand? Do you? Good.
But at least, at the end of the day, he came up with a banger of a game. And despite some things I dislike with the approach, I absolutely can't wait to play it, and I look forward to the moment I'm finished with this fucking thing so I can sit down and give it a go. But you, dear Matt, come crashing down with your statements about how you'll make the game extra woke just out of spite, and then what you deliver feels like a 50-kilogram Boy Scout in his first African orgy. All your attempts of bringing the modern talking points don't really hit the mark, I think. As an example, let me present Exhibit A. A strong female guard commander who can't wait to boast how badass she is.
Oh, you do ya? If you think you're so tough, why don't you prove to me what you've got? Spar with me. I'll take on you and your big blue friend.
Settle you guys!
All right, honey.
Whom you can easily overpower at level 2 or something.
It's clear I underestimated your prowess.
Exhibit B. A sassy rogue with her sidekick being all smug and bossy.
I'm your death, swift and subtle, like a blade in the dark.
And this here is Pod.
Hello.
And you get the point. Exhibit C. A woman guard can't handle a woman smuggler attempting to bring contraband, poorly hidden I might add, into the city.
For fuck's sake, can we move this along? I don't have all day.
But I have to check her cart for contraband. There's a lot to dig through. Find anything? I knew you were hiding something.
I don't know, man, but if I didn't know any better, I would say you're showing women as predominantly incompetent and woefully clueless. But hey, it's your game, it's your message, mate. Not convinced yet? Okay. Paradis being as multicultural as modern day Paris, although much cleaner and less chaotic, go figure, can be seen as a strong and brave statement, but your own lore states people from the entire world travel to Paradis to escape the law and start a new life, so it fits perfectly into the narrative if you ask me. So either your attempts are half-assed like your entire game, or as Reddit tearfully suggests, you're just baiting. I don't know which is it, and frankly, I don't care. I am just happy I can finally get rid of this and play some good RPG for a change. Keep calm, Hans. Daddy's coming home.
And then work that into meat. Give your meat a good old rub. That's it. Nice and hot. Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
As always, from the bottoms of my heart, thank you for watching. If you want me to cover any specific game in the future, or if you have questions, opinions, suggestions, or grievances, drop me a comment. I bid you farewell, and I'll see you next time, when we'll be trashing Japanese holy sites and murdering the peasants to glorious rap music.